Donald Trump has a charitable foundation. Now, most rich people give money to their foundations, but Trump hasn't given any money to his since 2008. It's largely full of other people's money. And as the Washington Post's David Fahrenthold has exposed, Trump has used some of the foundation's money not for charity, but for lots of things that seem to directly benefit Donald Trump himself, including 2 portraits of himself, a signed Tim Tebow football helmet, and we learned yesterday more than $250,000 to settle lawsuits that involve Trump's for-profit businesses. Again, this money from Trump's foundation being used not for charity, but to settle lawsuits against businesses owned by Trump. For obvious reasons, it's against the law for the leader of a nonprofit, such as the Trump Foundation, to use charity money to benefit his own private interests. Asked about the story on this network last night, Trump's running mate Mike Pence claimed the Washington Post got it wrong.
I think what we found is that there's a number of factual errors in that story, as there were in previous stories about the Trump Foundation. I'm confident they'll be able to address those and demonstrate that they fully complied with the law.
To back up right quick here for just a minute, do you know what the factual errors are that the campaign is alleging in the Washington Post story?
Well, I think the foundation will be able to lay those out.
In a statement released last night, the Trump campaign said, quote, "In typical Washington Post fashion, they've gotten their facts wrong," adding the Post reporting is peppered with inaccuracies and omissions from a biased reporter. The statement did not detail what specifically was supposedly inaccurate and omitted, and the Trump campaign did not respond to an NBC News request for specifics. Trump himself didn't offer much clarity when asked about the story today.
Could you explain to people why you may have used some charitable donations for some personal uses?
Yeah, well, the foundation is really there. It sets out money, gives money to vets, and it's really been doing a good job. And I think we put that to sleep just by putting out the last report.
Speaking at a rally in North Carolina yesterday, though not about his foundation, Trump extolled the general benefits of using other people's money.
We're going to get the Gulf states to pay for safe zones. We'll lead the project. Like it's called OPM. I do that all the time in business, called other people's money. There's nothing like doing things with other people's money.
Joining me now, Washington Post national politics reporter David Fahrenthold, who has meticulously covered the Trump Foundation and broke yesterday's story. David, first I want to start with, has the Trump campaign identified for you concretely what the inaccuracies or omissions are in your very copious reporting on this topic?
No. In this case, we had sent them a number of questions before that story ran, sort of laying out all the different scenarios we were going to describe, and then we heard nothing. We got no response at all. After the story ran, you saw that statement that came out 12 hours later. Since then, we've heard nothing from them. I don't think anybody's heard anything from them about specific things they believe are wrong.
There's a little bit, it appeared, a break in the case today. You've got this foundation. The foundation has to have a public and charitable purpose, and self-dealing laws require that you can't use it to benefit yourself. This, in the Des Moines Register, this was Lynn Patton, who's an aide. She's sort of an assistant to the 3 of the Trump children. She says that basically the money should count as Trump's money. She says a lot of times Mr. Trump will give a speech somewhere or he'll raise money in some way. He asked the entity, instead of cutting a personal check to him, cut it to his charity. That's money that otherwise would have been in his personal account, right? So when he cuts a check from his foundation for, let's say, St. Jude, it's his money, no ifs, ands, or ways about it. What do you make of that?
Well, it's interesting in that it doesn't really, a lot of the more recent donations to the foundation in the last 5 years or so have really been mysterious. The people who give them, Vince McMahon, the wrestling mogul, ticket broker in New York City named Richard Ebers, NBC Universal, haven't wanted to explain why they give these big donations to Donald Trump. It's possible that those are somehow some income that those people owed to Donald Trump, and he said, no, put it in my foundation. But those people haven't commented, so I haven't been able to confirm that. There are a few cases, if you look back further in the Trump Foundation, where it seems like in truth somebody paid money to Trump's foundation instead of to him. One example, I think, is the Comedy Central roast in 2011. Trump has said that he gave a $400,000 appearance fee, and he had them give that money directly to charity. But if she's talking about a broader pattern, nobody else has identified that pattern so far.
Has there been any follow-up? I mean, to me, the sort of smoking gun in all your reporting here, aside from the entertainment value of the paintings and the Tim Tebow helmet, is that the 2 legal settlements used money out of the Trump Foundation, which seems a very clear facial violation of self-dealing laws. Has there been any further developments on that?
No, Kellyanne Conway, who is Donald Trump's campaign manager, has made some references in some interviews to maybe there being more to one of these stories. There's a case where somebody sued Trump's golf club after being denied $1 million hole-in-one prize, and the settlement with that guy's, the hole-in-one hitter's foundation, that money was paid by the Trump Foundation and not Trump's golf course. Kellyanne Conway said something about how that was sort of a clerical error on their end. It didn't really seem to explain why $158,000 came out of this foundation to a guy who had just settled a lawsuit with Trump's golf course.
I just want to sort of zoom out here and just be clear. I mean, you have tried to locate personal donations from the pocket bank account of Donald Trump. You've only found one $10,000 check, if I am not mistaken. He has given some money to his own foundation, but stopped in 2008. Instead, we have a big pot of money. Other sources are coming in, and he is, in clear instances, used that pot of money in ways that personally benefit him. That is the story thus far.
That's right.
All right. David Fahrenthold, who has been dogged and will continue to be dogged, thanks for being with me tonight. We'll have you back soon.
Thank you.
Still ahead, even after staging a big rollout of his new child care policy, it's still difficult to pin down Trump's position, what we know, and what appears to be suddenly changing about that policy coming up. But first, tonight.